For centuries, ancient artifacts have been looted, traded, and taken from their original lands, with many ending up in European and US museums. One is the ancient Greek treasures known as the Parthenon Sculptures, which Athens has been trying to reclaim from the UK for the past 40 years. And now, at a time when Greece and Türkiye are seeing warmer relations, Ankara is showing full support for its neighbor's claim to the historical artifacts. Turkey's head of smuggling prevention, Zeynep Boz, attended a UNESCO conference where she denied British claims that Ottoman officials approved the transfer of the relics. Boz said there were no Ottoman records giving permission to Britain's ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, Lord Elgin, to take the relics. At the beginning of the 19th century, Elgin removed parts of the ancient Parthenon temple at the Acropolis in Athens and shipped them to Britain. Today, they're on display at the British Museum and have been a major dispute between Greece and the UK. Türkiye is also embroiled in several disputes with UK museums, calling for the return of relics from ancient Anatolian civilizations, as well as the Ottoman Empire. And for more on the Elgin marbles dispute, joining me now from Istanbul is Vehbi Baysan. He is an associate professor of history at İbn Haldun University. And from Ankara, Ahmet Keser, a professor of political science and international relations at Hasan Kalyoncu University. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Vehbi, Greece has been calling for the Parthenon sculptures' return for decades. So why has this issue remained unresolved in these years? I mean, why are they so important?
Well, it's very important because that's probably one of the most valuable, culturally valuable artifacts on display at British Museum. And a lot of people go there just to see those marbles. And quite understandably, Britain is reluctant to return them back. But they're also resorting to the certain rules and regulations that these artifacts, although they're collected from many parts of the world, actually it's illegal to return them. But how long they can maintain this, we will wait and see. But now Greece and now with the support of Turkey really pushing ahead to get them back, and many other items as well.
Ahmet, the Turkish Culture Ministry's top anti-smuggling official Zeynep Boz has rejected the claim that the Lord Elgin had received permission from the Ottoman authorities to remove the relics from the Acropolis. So how important was this for Greece's case?
Of course, there is a kind of supportive sentence because usually when we look at the UK claims about the issue, they try to get a legitimacy on the issue as they took those pieces to UK by the permission of the Ottoman Empire during the governing empire in that area. This explanation coming from the Turkish Ministry of Culture is, of course, supports the claims coming from the Greece that they were not taken to United Kingdom by the permission of any official from the Ottoman Empire. So that's very important, I think.
So, Vehbi, could Turkey's announcement help add more pressure on the UK government?
Well, absolutely. But Turkey, for at least a good decade, actually following the policy, which I really like. Whenever we visit a museum in Turkey, you find some of the items are displayed, but also some missing parts are notifying the viewers that, you know, this certain part is missing here because it's in that British Museum or elsewhere in Europe. And Turkey really determined to get them back where they belong to. So now it seems Greece and Turkey merging their power and also desire to have them back to their own country. It's a mounting pressure over certainly the UK government. Probably they are the responsible people to decide for that in the end of the day.
So, Ahmet, could Greece and Türkiye join forces to get back their antiquities spread across the world?
Of course, this has positive impacts on the issue, but when we look at the UNESCO structure and the committees, for example, which is already a sub-institution of the United Nations for the protection of world natural and cultural heritage, the UNESCO committee makes the decisions on 2 to 3rd of majority. Of course, how much countries support these issues, that will positively affect to achieve the positive results for return of the heritages to the original countries. But of course, there are some other legal barriers in front of this, which we can mention maybe in the upcoming rounds.
So do we know which countries are backing the British case?
I think mostly when we look at those countries who own the heritages or displaced heritages, mostly are located in Germany, in United States, in United Kingdom, in Switzerland, in Italy. But when we look at at least the attitude of those countries, for example, I think UK is the most reluctant one in returning all the pieces to the original countries. And one of the other is the Germany, and also Russia holds, which he took back to Moscow after the World War II. So these countries are usually opposing for returning the pieces to the owning countries, original countries.
So, Vebi, what do you make of UNESCO's structure? I mean, it seems that it cannot mediate between these two countries, right?
Well, indeed, but it's not only these two countries. We know that many African countries also requesting a return of their valuable items, but also China, Japan, so you name it, and we also have Central Asia. So British government, or certainly the British Museum, in the view that if we return any of these items, the important ones, actually is going to pave the way, and they have to return the others, and what's there to display in these museums? Well, that's understandable, but they should also respect the country's desires that actually they display in their own country safely, and probably with cooperation and backing and also assistance of British Museum. So I think we're living in a global world, and British Museum and British government should satisfy the demands.
So we know that back in 2023, Ahmet, the Turkish government has intensified its efforts to reclaim artifacts belonging to the ancient Anatolian civilizations as well as the Ottoman Empire from museums in the United Kingdom. How far has that effort gone so far?
Well, actually, there is an increasing demand and diplomatic pressure on the issue. And when we look at, for example, from 2004 to 2020, even Turkey got more than 4,449 pieces of the historical heritage back from the processors. So the issue is ongoing well, but still we have some legal time-bound limitation, which protects the processor countries regarding this issue. This is for example, 1995 dated Unidetroit Convention, which is a supportive document for the UNESCO Convention, puts a time-bound limitation. The original country should apply as soon as they learn the theft or smuggling in 3 years. This is the first time-bound limitation. The second, even in each case, 50 years should not be passed after the smuggling activity. So this is I think, most significant barrier in front of returning all the pieces to the original countries. Because when we look at the heritages, most of them are taken from Anatolia during the last period of Ottoman Empire, and more than 50 years has already passed.
So maybe dozens of historical relics from Anatolian origin have been returned to Türkiye from the US since 2021. So the question, why have these attempts been successful with the United States but not with the United Kingdom?
Well, the United Kingdom claims that their regulations, legislation prevent them returning these artifacts back to Turkey. And that's what they resort to. I mean, and obviously, I know because I used to teach at the University of London, and I had close contact with British Museum, and used to ask the same question. Because, for example, when you enter British Museum, there is this probably the world's most famous lion taken away from Knidos. And all these things so valuable for them, and they adore it, and we appreciate that. But in the end of the day, they have to be returned. This is my view. But what Britain does is that constantly back and forth corresponding with the government, and they're saying that even the case, there are court cases as well, but they're saying that the current legislation in the UK, preventing it, and they cannot do that. But biggest fear, obviously, is to returning just even the one single item. As I said earlier, it's going to pave the way that the others has to be returned to other countries as well. The claim is so big. It's not only Greece and Turkey. There are so many other countries and hundreds and thousands of artifacts too.
Yes, you refer to the British laws because we know that the issue has also caused a dispute between Conservative and Labour parties in the United Kingdom. So the question is, Ahmet, how are the Greek and UK governments, you think, are reacting to Turkey's latest statement on these very marbles?
Of course, in Greece, it's positively welcomed as a supportive statement. And it will also help improving the diplomatic relations, which has already begun to develop between the two countries. But on the other side, in UK, of course, that is negatively commented on the issue, but that does not change the solution. I think these countries, original countries, should insist on returning and receiving all those heritage back to their original locations. Even if there are some disputes regarding those, for example, Troy treasure, which is taken from Ottoman Empire to Berlin first, and after the World War II from Berlin to Moscow. All three countries are now claiming ownership on these issues. It doesn't matter. All these heritage should be taken to their original countries, and that's why all the cooperative efforts should be supported regarding to that one.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.